And we're live.
Well, Austin, I watched the fights. Like, I'm gonna watch the Jake Paul fight this weekend. I watched that shit. Like, I watched the Austin McBroom one. I bought the fucking YouTubers versus TikTokers fight.
Back on Jake
that.
Paul.
Yeah,
I have been watching Tyron Woodley. I 100% believe he genuinely dislikes Jake Paul and everything that he stands for.
Yes.
He's like, this guy is a fight vulture, just living off the hard work that real fighters put in. And Jake Paul actually puts in real work. He was telling Jake Paul that he's in real danger. He's like, the people you are training with are not giving you their best effort. You think that you're prepared to fight with a guy like me, and you're not. You're really going to get hurt. You don't belong in the ring.
You think he's going to beat Jake Paul?
I hope so.
Paul's crew disrespected Tyron Woodley's mom, and he's like, "I don't play that shit." It's on video.
I love it.
Yeah, he's like, you better get your fucking dogs away from your mom. I'm in there, and like, I believe every bit of it. Every bit of it. Tyron Woodley wants to hurt Jake Paul. Tyron Woodley is so washed. I don't know what he has left, but you would think it's a mismatch against Jake Paul, right?
Yeah, I do think it's a mismatch. I think that Tyron's going to knock him out. That would be my bet. It's not as much of a mismatch as me versus Diego, but it's still quite a mismatch. Because
I think Jake Paul will win.
You do.
And I got one piece of information that I saw that made me think that.
Okay.
And it was the first time I'm making a decision, because even when like Jake Paul was fighting Ben Askren, I was like, I don't know. I think Ben can fuck him up. That was my thought. I just thought, you're like a fucking UFC fighter. You're gonna get inside.
Like
once
the
he's
worst
inside,
striker in UFC history against a striker.
A YouTuber.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay.
And I get it. This guy's a striker, right? I don't know a lot of UFC. You guys do know more than I do. But there was one clip. It was Jake Paul and him, and they were on stage together. And Jake Paul said, "If I lose, I'll tattoo 'I love Tyron Woodley' on me." And he was like, "And if you lose, you have to tattoo 'I love Jake Paul.' Deal?" And he hesitated so long, and it looked like he wouldn't, like, or whatever. And in that moment, I was like, "Okay, Jake Paul is in his head." Or hear me out. Hear me out. My first thought was like, Jake Paul's in his head. And that's where I rested. I'm like, but there is the chance that culture-wise, he might be like, nah, bro, that's gay too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want my name on you. That is also gay. That's some homo white boy move, tattooing my name. Like, none of it.
Tattoo means very little to Jake Paul, right?
Yeah, and he's like, might be like the whole thing.
Take Mayweather's hat off. And he says, "I got your hat," right? The next day, he had "I got your hat" tattooed on him.
Mm-hmm.
That to me demonstrates that a tattoo to this guy is like a.
You're right, but I did when I read it the first time. I was like, I think he's in his head. Now I'm not going to be like, "Yo, I'm a huge Jake Paul fan." I'm not going to say like, "Yo, Jake Paul." I'm obviously like not that. I mean, I feel bad that he had to fight his brother in rap songs to keep staying on top of YouTube. But I look at it and I'm like, to me, on paper, Jake Paul is doing everything smart. And this goes back like over a year. I thought that the whole Conor McGregor thing was a huge victory for Jake Paul. Like, you call out Conor McGregor. You just did 4D chess. He's in the corner. So now he's going to say no, and that's ugly. That's a pass. You passed on it. Why wouldn't you? The money's there. The money's there. Why wouldn't you? You are that guy. You fought Mayweather. Like, the money's
His brother
there.
Did.
What?
He's saying that no. He's saying that Conor.
Oh no, Conor McGregor. I was like, Conor McGregor. Sorry. I'm like, what kind of fucking conspiracy theory is this? McGregor and his brother fought and lost. Okay, so yeah, I'm like, you did that move, and now you are either too scared to fight Jake Paul, or you're avoiding it, or you fight Jake Paul and you beat his ass, and we're all like, of course, or you fight Jake Paul and the worst case scenario, you lose.
He would be
so
outraged.
He did put them in that position, and then Dana White got so invested in making us. It got so invested in not being invested that it also came off in a bad way by being like, it's disrespectful to fighters, blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, I'm not a huge UFC guy, so I have no loyalty or allegiance to anyone. Conor McGregor threw fucking chairs at a bus of his fellow fighters, cut them up like by throwing the chairs. I saw him knock out that old man at the bar. If you're there and you're like, yo, Conor McGregor's fucking badass, I love Conor McGregor, you can't write off Jake Paul. Because why? He's an asshole? Conor McGregor, bro. Like, when I watched Mayweather and Conor McGregor, I was like, this is going to be fun because I want to see them both get punched in the head. Like, I would love to see them both get knocked out. Didn't this guy hit his wife or something? And I've seen this guy beat up old men at the bar, even though he's a trained fighter. So when Jake Paul called him out, I was like, bro, you have to kick his ass, Conor. Or what would be really crazy is if he doesn't kick his ass. And I thought when Jake Paul did that, it was you are now in conversation. That's why every MMA site or whatever, they want to talk about him. They want to do it. And like, I'm a huge wrestling fan. I got like wrestling chairs behind me. Like, I go to the events. I love wrestling. And I always thought the pageantry of wrestling is so valuable because we know that the winner is decided. So what's going to get us there? Well, the lead up to it. And Jake Paul, I'm not being a fan. No one needs to be like, bro, fuck Jake Paul. Fuck you, you fat idiot. Shut up. You're missing the point. The point that I'm saying is that he did it masterfully, because he's in every conversation. And so many people want to see him get his ass kicked. And like, they keep putting him up against these people that are just not guaranteed to 100% kick his ass. Get someone in the UFC right now, the top of the UFC, like Dana White, like, see the opportunity here.
Yeah, John
and
Jones
just get your best fighter to kick his fucking ass. End it. Nip it in the bud. Instead, you're like, oh, he's not a real fighter. He's not a real fighter. So he's sitting here selling pay-per-view after pay-per-view like crazy money, breaking pay-per-view records. And winning because you don't want to put your best fighters against him, even though the best fighters are like, bro, please let me knock his ass out. But instead, no one wants to do it. They find themselves above it, but you can't hold yourself above the showmanship of it. You can't hold yourself above that aspect because that's what sells tickets. Boxing doesn't kill it like it used to. When my dad used to go watch boxing, like, it was like everyone shut down. Front page of the newspaper the next day, the boxing results. People couldn't even tell you the top 5 boxers in this day and age. No one could. And back then it could have happened.
Yeah,
5 on Paul, yeah, me too.
Tyson Fury, and then
and his brother,
the black guy and the fat guy.
Yeah,
boxing fans know who I'm talking about with those. There's that chisel.
Does the Klitschko still fight?
They think they're too old. I don't know.
Yeah, they were fighting when I was in high school. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. Boxing's fucking lame, man. Boxing's fucking lame. I hope we come full circle and go to sword fighting again.